Hi guys, I want to show you how to make a really easy keto chocolate pudding slash chocolate mousse. Banting diet friendly, as it's called in South Africa, and it's basically just a ganache with mascarpone cheese. Couldn't be simpler, and it's super delicious. So the ingredients for this recipe include some Baker's unsweetened baking chocolate. It's very important that you get 100% cacao unsweetened chocolate because it's got to be keto, so no added sugar. Then we have some cream. You could use heavy cream. I've just got some regular whipping cream and some mascarpone cheese, obviously. To sweeten it, I've got some xylitol as well as some stevia. And in terms of adding some flavor, I've got a bit of cinnamon, nutmeg, and a pinch of salt. I also like to add cayenne pepper from time to time to give it that bite. So the sound you're hearing in the background is the water boiling, because the first step is we're going to cut up this Baker's chocolate and melt it down. So let's do that. Just put this off for a second. Alright, so step one, cut up your chocolate. The reason why we're cutting up the chocolate is to make it easier to melt. You can break it up with your hands. I'm just using a knife. So I sometimes struggle with my hands. Okay, so this chocolate goes into a bowl, into a double boiler. Okay, so we're just boiling some chocolate in a double boiler in some water and letting the chocolate melt, at which point we'll add some sweetener. Okay, so now we're going to add some sweetener to the chocolate. Remember, this is unsweetened cacao. So we're going to use xylitol in this case. I really want to use erythritol, but I don't have access to it. Erythritol has absolutely no impact on your blood sugar, which is great. Xylitol has a very mild impact. It's got a GI of 12. So you can't overuse the xylitol. I'm going to put 2.5 teaspoons. So you can see these teaspoons are pretty big teaspoons. 2 heaped teaspoons plus another half a heaped teaspoon or another full teaspoon. So I put that much xylitol, and in addition to that, I'm also going to add a little bit of stevia. Stevia is something you can't add too much. It does have a bitter aftertaste. If you want to avoid any impact on your blood sugar and you want to make it super Banting, super keto, then avoid the xylitol, use erythritol instead, or just use stevia if you don't mind the bitter taste. Be very careful with the stevia. A little goes a long way, as I like to always say with the stevia. So I'm putting, you can see right now how much I'm putting. I'm putting about this much. About this much stevia, just a little stevia, in it goes. Alright, so now I'm going to give that a bit of a stir. Stir. Oh, melted chocolate. I love melted chocolate. Now I could just eat this just like this. I could just get my face stuck into this melted chocolate and look like a pig, because melted chocolate's good. Alright, so good. Okay, so now we're going to add some flavor to our melted chocolate, and the first thing I'm going to do is put a little pinch of salt, just a little pinch, and then I'm going to put some nutmeg. This is optional. You don't need to put the nutmeg in if you don't want to. I also sometimes like to add some coconut oil to it, also completely optional. So just a bit of nutmeg. Ooh. And also some cinnamon. Okay, cool. Give this a bit of a stir. So the next step is to put in some whipping cream. I'm putting in 200 ml of whipping cream. Ooh, cream and chocolate. Yes. Okay. Let's get a spatula, get all the goodness off of there. Okay, and then with an electric mixer, mix. Okay, so when the chocolate is all well incorporated and puddingy, like this, we are going to add some lovely mascarpone cheese. So I have 250 grams of mascarpone cheese all going in. So I'm going to squeeze some in first, like this, and then mix that in. Alright, then I'll squeeze the rest in. Oops. Stay. Good dog. Good mixer. Squeeze the rest in, like so. It's like the best toothpaste ever. Alright. Alright, then you mix everything until everything's well incorporated. And the final ingredient that I like to put in there, just to give it some lovely texture when you're eating it, to give it a lovely crunch, is some roasted nuts. And in this case, I'm using roasted macadamia nuts and pine nuts. Roasted pine nuts have a lovely flavor, as do the macadamias. And the macadamias are the best ketogenic nuts because they're full of lovely monounsaturated fats. They're big fat bombs, they're delicious, they're oily, they're creamy, and they work great in a chocolate pudding slash mousse. So, okay, so here I have some nuts that are roasted in the oven early on. I'm not going to put all of these in. I'm going to put about half. This is about a cup of roasted macadamias and pine nuts. Half a cup of macadamia, half a nut of pine nuts. I'll put half into the actual pudding, and the other half I'll dust on the top. So here they go. All right, like so. Okay, and that's pretty much it. All that's left to do is to put the pudding into the containers that you're going to present it in, dust some nuts on top, and refrigerate it for 45 minutes. That easy. So let's do that. This couldn't be easier. It's delicious. Everyone will love it. Sweetness is a relative thing. If this is not sweet enough for you, you could always add more erythritol or xylitol or stevia, whatever sweetener you choose to use. If it's too sweet for you, you add less. So that's a personal decision that you have to make. But it's delicious. It's so good. The texture comes out great, as you'll see later on. And yeah, this is a real crowd pleaser. So I'm just doing one first to show you how it's done. And as I said earlier, sweetness is relative. You know, I like it on the dark chocolate side of things, so I don't like to add too much of the sweetener. Other people may add 3-4 teaspoons of xylitol or erythritol instead. That's really up to you. You've got to experiment with the sweetness. So before you refrigerate it, just have a spoon and see if it's sweet enough for you, or if it's... Start with less sugar, not sugar, sweetener obviously. Sugar is evil. But start with less sweetener, and then you can add more until you get the desired level of sweetness. But yeah, this is delicious stuff. It's so good. As you can see, I'm just dusting off the top with some more of the pine nuts and macadamias, just roughly chopped. Refrigerate for 45 minutes and you're done. Okay, so these have been in the fridge for about 45 minutes and they have set. And this is how they look at the end. Look really pretty. And let's have a taste, shall we? Oh, look at this lovely texture. It's like a lovely chocolate mousse slash pudding. Mmm. Mmm. It's heavenly. With the nuts inside there. And it's so good. Mmm. The longer you keep it in the fridge, the harder it will get. But it won't get super hard. It'll just turn into a very firm, moussey pudding. It's so good. It's so easy to make. So have fun making this delicious, lovely, ketogenic pudding. There's no excuse not to. It's so good. It's heaven. Mmm. Mmm. Heaven.